live. PLO Bro Official, episode number 5 of the road to 100K. We are transitioning from live No Limit Hold'em to online PLO and looking to get it in and run up our bankroll to 100,000. Just downloaded a new update on my HUD here, and apparently it's seeding, putting the HUDs in the wrong place. Pretty cool. Queen Jack 5-3. We're playing three-handed right now. Try to wait for this table to fill up. It's pretty clear defend in my opinion. We're double suited as well. Flop a double backdoor flush draw as well as top pair. We're gonna call a bet here without question. He is for a reasonably large size. He could have a reasonable hand here. We turn an open ender and a flush draw, so that's a pretty awesome card for us. And we're actually going to lead out in this spot and try to make sure it doesn't check through. We have a lot of equity here. We're going to bet 550. And we get the fold. A check raise there I don't think would be bad either, actually, but if it checks through and we brick out on the river, it's a little more difficult on us. Turn right around in the small blind, king, king, queen, 10, single suited, and that's a pretty strong hand as well. We're gonna raise, be happy to call a 3-bet. This flop, though, probably hits his big blind defend range a lot more than ours. We also don't have any backdoor flush draws on this board. Not really sure what I want to do here. A 7 I think is a good card for us most of the time because it's going to make it hard for him to beat us with 2 pair now if he has a jack. There's also, there wasn't, we're going to check again. I think this is a spot where they're going to stab a ton of turns on us here. And we want to be able to call some of the time when, and protect our range when we check flop and then check again on the turn. I don't really think there's any reason to do a lot of betting here. Actually, the more I think about it, the more I think I do want to bet. Because I think that 2 pair is going to call us, and maybe even some 1 pair hands. He does fold. But like queen, jack, jack 6, a queen 6 that didn't want to, even though, well, queen 6 and jack 6 got counterfeited regardless, so I retract that statement. As always, we're on a 5-minute delay, so feel free to holler in the chat about anything, volume, anything like that that you'd like to see adjusted. Just be aware that the response will come through on your end delayed. If this table fills up, we might swing into 2-tabling here, but I don't want to be switching back and forth between tables a lot while we're short-handed here and just have to go back and forth a lot. The reason I limp that spot there is it's not a hand that I want to call a 3-bet with if I raise any 3-bets. So I can limp with the intention of calling if he does raise. And yeah, it allows us to make sure that we're getting to flops, you know, cheaper. Double flush draw here on the board. We have top pair and a gut shot. And check. We have a hand we don't want to get raised off of. He does pot it, which would like, say like queen 10. I think he would have raised the flop with 2 pair. But he could have queen 10, or he could have turned a flush draw with a pair. The problem is this is going to be difficult. What do we do on rivers? And this is a good card. Well, we did limp pre, so I don't know how good of a card this is for us. Probably should have folded on that turn, actually. We're gonna bet and try and get some 2 pairs to fold. Play like aces up. And he does fold and leaves the table. He, I don't know, he might have had some like monster draw there and just got super pissed that he missed. So the reason I bet there is because felt like he was mad, go slower fruit, so he was upset that I was taking some time to make a decision there. We're effectively the button here. We do have a nut suit, and we're double suited. So 3-handed, I think we're going to open this up from the button like without too much question. This is somewhat of an annoying spot where we don't have any diamonds. We're against 2 players, so we're going to be up against the flush a lot of times. We flop 2 pair. I think we just got to check. Straight gets there on the turn. I'm not sure what this min bet means. Like, I don't know what unless he's just trying to like. He has a really strong hand, he's just trying to like suck money out of people. But that's not usually what that bet means, I don't think. We're just gonna see, you know, hopefully we got there. No, it's straight. Ace, Jack, Jack 10, flatted from the small blind. I think that should have been a 3-bet by player 3 there. I'm going to check. There's no reason to really try and bloat the pot here with this hand at all. Ten, 8-3, 8 high suit, pretty trashy. We're playing out of position as well. I'm just gonna fold. I know that a lot of times we're gonna get to see flops for cheap, but I just tend to play my small blind pretty tight. We could have had some success potentially on this flop by double blocking the nut straight. And he gets there with just a pair of jacks and the 8s on the board. We certainly would have won that hand. Even without hitting trips on the river, I think we play our blockers aggressively. We get there, or they fold. So we got a couple people joining the stream already. Thanks for stopping by, guys. We're gonna see if we can get another table running here. These guys are taking a long time. And there's nothing running right now. We'll keep trying it. All the tables are full, it looks like. Mixed reviews on the new Ignition seating arrangements here, where you can't see the list of tables. You just select the stakes and game you want to play, and then it automatically puts you there. King, Jack, 10, 9, King High Diamonds. We're gonna open this up from the cutoff. Pretty standard. Get 3-bet, which I'm not like super enthusiastic about. He's gonna have like, I feel like at this stake, seeing a lot more 3-betting with ace-ace and like maybe under 3-betting with like other like what I would call, or like as Jay Nandez would say, pushing hands. Tom Chambers. So flop top pair and a gut shot. I'm sorry, a backdoor straight draw, not a gut shot. And that's going to be a bad card for us. That's going to hit his range a ton. And it puts second flush draw. So I think we're going to probably end up giving up here if he bets. We're going to have very little visibility on the river. The ace hits his range, his 3-bet range really strong. We might be drawing dead. He does bet big as well. And so, I mean, half the deck puts a flush out there. He may already have us drawing dead or drawing to trips. So it's just not really a great board for us. By him checking back, that was a flop that we could have potentially check raised there. But and maybe get some better hands to fold, or current better made hands to fold. But when he checked back, puts us in a tough spot. Ace is a bad card. Whether he had ace or aces or not, he can successfully rep those cards. Small blind limping in there with the triple queens. I think that 3 aces in your hand is something that you can play, because if you can decrease the SPR and get significant amount of money in the middle pre-flop, you're not really playing as much for set value as you are for the value of the overpair and a nut suit. You're usually going to have a nut suit, and then you're going to have 2 blockers. So like a lot of flush boards you're going to be able to play aggressively. What is going on with the HUD? Just downloaded a patch and it's messing up the seating arrangement. Player 4. Player 5. 8763. This is pretty bad. I guess we'll complete, but we don't really like this hand. Getting pretty great odds, and if we do flop a really strong straight or something, we can have a good implied odds. We don't like the fact that we are sitting with we're going to be dominated in more situations than we like to be. We're just going to get out of this spot. We would turn two pair, and it's kind of one of the reasons I fold is like without, even with a two pair here, like I don't know, we might not be in awesome shape. We would have rivered the boat, and looks like gotten at least one more bet out of player 4, but we very well may have been behind even on the turn. So you see the bankroll is up to 2,400. We were down to 2,050, so minus 9 buy-ins. We've grinded that back up to minus 2 buy-ins. And are on the cusp of being in the black. On the cusp of being in the black. So hopefully we can make that happen tonight. We will make that happen tonight. We will make that happen tonight. Pretty nutted hand here on the button. Ace, queen, queen, jack with nut hearts. So we have a big pair. We are connected and a nut suit. So this is a hand that we feel happy to start putting some chips in the middle with, especially with position. Everybody folds, which is okay as well, I guess. Not as strong of a hand here, but still a fairly attractive spot to open raise. Our suit is nutted. We have 3 broadways, and our dangler can make a wheel. So we're happy to put a little money in, trying to see a flop. If this was double suited, like ace high and queen high suit, maybe even with the 10 high suit, but if we were double suited, probably put in a 3 bet in this spot. Or if the 5 was like a 9. So we flop a gut shot. And there's a lot of good cards for us, I think, on the turn. Like any card above the jack, any 9, a diamond. So we're gonna float here. The jack pairs and brings a flush draw. Trying to understand what he has here with this small betting. I guess we'll just fold. Either he has a jack. I mean, we could check raise and fold out all of his air, but we don't have very much equity against anything that if he flats us, even if he flats us with like a flush draw, like there's not a lot of rivers that we feel very good about firing another barrel on. He would probably fold most of his flush draws though. Player 6. This hand is going slow as molasses. Let's go. Looks like all the tables are still full. Ace Queen 4 deuce double suited. Unfortunately, our heart suit is 4 high. We do have 3 wheel cards, and wheel cards should be fairly clear of player 2's under the gun raising range. One of our suits is nutted. The small blind calling, we're getting better than 3-1, so we're gonna complete here, see a flop. Hit second pair, backdoor flush draw. That's pretty big here, 375. I think we have to bluff here simply because I highly doubt that we're going to win at showdown. And he does call, and we'll get wrecked. I had a straight, pretty sick. Somebody have like a jack high rundown there? A 3 wrap with a 6, and he was double suited. Queen, queen, jack 3, single suited. We're just gonna complete here. I think this is a pull-in hand where we want to just pull some people into the hand and try to hit like top set or something like that. We do hit the jack, we have the overpair. Other than that, not a lot happening. I mean, the queen of diamonds blocker going 3 ways. I don't think I really want to be using that as a bluff very often. I'm actually just going to fold here. Which I think is probably the right play out of position when he bets, and 6 calls. 7's probably a pretty strong card for us. Player 2 fires again though and takes it down. WSOP is underway. So today Doug Polk was going into the 1-drop restart, like 3rd in chips, so he's having a pretty strong run. And PTP, who's doing the Upswing Poker tournament class, coaching the tournament class, final tabled the Super High Roller Bowl. So Upswing guys are off to a good start for the summer. Not sure if PTP cashed. I want to say top 7 cashed. I didn't actually watch the end of the Super High Roller Bowl yet, so If you made the final table and didn't cash, I guess that's not that great of a start. To bubble a 300,000 buy-in tournament. Pretty trashy double suited hand in the big blind. Happy to check and see a flop. And pretty much completely whiff. We can hit a gut shot. Do have two backdoor flush draws. Neither one of them are very strong. We hit our gut shot and turn a flush draw. We do not have the nut straight though, and are beat by Jack 10, Queen 10, King 10, and Ace 10. So I'm not feeling that great about betting because that is against three opponents. That's a ton of combos that we're behind against. We missed the flush. I just don't think anything other than a straight is going to call us. And I'm just going to fold here, actually. On that board, I don't think we're getting called by anything other than the nuts. And nothing other than the nuts should be betting. And there's just so many combos of the nuts that I think, you know, say, well, I'm just going to fold the second nuts all the time when there's a bet on the river. And the answer to that is no. But all the second nuts is on that board when there's so many combos of nut straights. Second nuts is just a pure bluff catcher. Like a 10 with any Broadway makes the nuts. And yeah, king high straight's just not going to be good against any value bet. And it's unlikely he's just going to like donk lead into three opponents on the river without it. Player 2 running good so far. All right, look down at a real hand. Ace, ace, 9, 8. Single suited and we're on the button. Love to get 3-bet here, but we'll take it down. Happy to pull in the blinds though. That's 150 big blinds per 100. Get out a pretty strong hand here in the cutoff as well. King, queen, 10, 9. Queen high diamonds. So we'll open this up as well. Pretty connected, reasonably high suit. Good high card strength. Not the best, but from the cutoff, I think it's happy to open this up. We open it up and it looks like our client freezes on us. Pretty sweet, dude. There we go. It's the dreaded timeout. Player 4 is probably going to leave the table in a second. He looks like he just timed out. We're going to fold into the guns open range here. It's not a hand we want to get involved with. We're going to have our ace dominated a lot. And flop like non-nut draws like that. Flop the bottom wrap. Didn't really... Not really trying to get our money in there. Because the under the gun open range is going to have a lot of dominating wraps and dominating straight draws that just crush us. Cool, so Able 1337 did verify PTP made the money in the super high roller bowl, so that's pretty sweet. And yeah, man, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. I watched day one on the free stream. Been kind of cheap on the old Poker Go subscription. And didn't want to come out of pocket for the 10 bones to watch it. Yeah, so we're just gonna fold here. I like to defend my big blind, but this hand sucks. So Pratish, can't remember how you say his name. PTP. Makes the money super high rollable. Doug Polk comes back to the restart, third and chips of the one drop. So the upswing crowd is looking like they're off to a pretty good start. If Doug can cash the one drop and ship the one drop, that'd just be ridiculous. This would have been a pretty good flop for us on the last two hands. But we had our cards in the muck. I guess you can't win with your cards in the muck. We're gonna have to get rid of this garbage on the button here. Catch a good piece of this flop as well. We're gonna have to stop folding pre. Yeah, so Vogelsang takes down super high roller bowl. It's pretty nasty. He's a great player. And I saw that Liv Barry and Igor Kurganov took down the bracelet for the tag team. Definitely gonna have to check it out, man. I thought that the Super Hot Roller Bowl was a great tournament last year. Just kind of was busy this week, along with being cheap and not wanting to pay for a Poker Go subscription. But I'm definitely going to have to check it out. It's awesome that it went a long way, or it went great. And we're going to open up the kings here with the suit. Yeah, so hopefully we can flop a set here. We can't. We do have a backdoor flush draw though. This would be a good board for us to c-bet. I feel like in a lot of spots. We have a gut shot too. Because even on a jack, we double block the nut straight. A diamond is good for us, and obviously a queen. But I'm going to check and try and see a turn because we can pick up a lot of equity or options to bluff on the turn. 4 is not really what we were hoping for. We're going to put out a bet here and try main. Everybody's showing so much weakness. Glad player 5 folded because we have no fold equity against his stack if he has anything. And everybody does fold. Like, I would have preferred the delayed c-bet on that board should, like, you know, a better card for us hit. But like a diamond, because we can just barrel like a lot of turns if we hit a diamond on the or barrel a lot of rivers if we hit a diamond on the turn. But when the two players in front of us check the flop and then check the turn, the button checked the flop, and the turn shouldn't have really changed much about his hand unless he made some weird 2-pair. Just thought that it looked like everybody was pretty weak, and that board is better for my range than theirs, so we put out a delayed c-bet anyway. Happened to work this time. Don't know that it's the best play in a vacuum from a GTO standpoint. I'm gonna call here, and we'll see what this guy does. I'm just gonna bluff this spot. If he has it, then he has it. He didn't have it. Yeah, man, the grind's been going pretty good. So, been getting positive feedback on social media, my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and on here, as well as my YouTube channel. Anybody on the stream that isn't following me, check me out. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube is at PLO Bro Official. Twitter is at PLO Bro. Give me a follow, subscribe, etc. All of these streams, as well as some additional content like hand breakdowns and stuff like that, go on my YouTube channel as well. So there's some more content out there. So from like that aspect, it's been going really good. You can see on the overlay where we're at with the bankroll. So we started with 2,500, and we're trying to grind this sucker up to 100K, which is a tall order, but you only have to double your bankroll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 times to get there. So I think it's a totally reasonable goal to set. So You see we're down 2 buy-ins coming into tonight. And I think we're down like $10 right now for this session. So we're basically down 2 buy-ins. But we're actually on the comeback. We had a couple pretty rough sessions to start that dropped us down. At our lowest point, we were down like just over 9 buy-ins. So minus 2 buy-ins is headed back in the right direction for sure. And I feel like for the most part, play has been going well. Like, I think I've been making pretty good decisions in most situations. But man, my nose is itching. So yeah, I think we're making good decisions in most situations. I feel comfortable at this stake against what I'm seeing from the population on ignition at PLO 50. And even from the beginning, we've done really well winning a lot of like small and medium pots and picking really good spots to bluff and taking advantage of what I think some leaks are from a general population standpoint. But we were losing a lot of like a disproportionate percentage of like the big all-in pots where like, you know, we're getting it all on the flop as a flip or a 60-40, and we just could not win those for the life of me. And that's really what crushed us out the gate. Been able to win some of those spots the last week or so, which has helped us get back to where we're at now. So overall, I'd say that it's going. I mean, we're obviously down 2 buy-ins, which isn't ideal, but it's early. We've shown that we can come back from some bad runs. Yo, Jesus, what's up, my man? Thanks for stopping by again. Yeah, man. Who's fighting tonight? I think we got a pretty clear defend here. Flop top pair. Got some backdoor stuff going on. And this guy pots it on us. Here having the pair of 9s kind of sucks because it's a lot less outs for us to improve to 2 pair if he has us beat. I feel like when he pots it here, like, he probably does have us beat. Ugh, this is an ugly spot. Like, if he's got an overpair. Alright, I guess we just gotta get it in. He's out-kicked us. Yeah, unfortunate. I didn't really like being in that position, but I didn't really know if we can fold top pair there with the stack that he has. I think it's maybe a spot where we just get stacked. Rainbow hand with a low pair. We're just gonna fold that from the cutoff. It's interesting. I'm kind of wondering if we're at a table with I don't know, at a table with a bunch of regs or something. Like, to be at a table, I mean, that's only 40 hands here and 50 hands here, but and 13 here, but these VPIPs below 20 are significantly below what is normal on Ignition. So maybe we'll try to find a different table here. See if we can get it in with some rec players. Or we'll just run 2 tables. Happy to check with this hand. Flop a pair. A weak flush draw. We do double block some straights. And that is a good card for us because I think that we can rep the nut straight pretty strong here. And fire down on like non-club turns. I'm not sure why our blind wasn't posted there. And when we don't get raised, so like I think we have to yeah, I think we're good. Yeah. We didn't want to bet a 9 high flush there. I don't think any, maybe some worse flushes that call, but we also might get bluffed raised off the hand. But with having 3 diamonds in our hand there, I think that when he bets, if we check and he bets, I think that we have to call. It's a fairly comfortable call. We're not always going to be good, but he can, when we check, we give him the opportunity to bet missed clubs, turn some like 1 pair hands that he called with on, or even some 2 pair hands that he called with on the flop to turn into a bluff, and we can call it down. Having the extra diamond in our hand removes the number of combos of flushes he can have. Oh, he was short stacked. I was kind of wondering what was going on there. Yeah, I'm back. I'm gonna wait for the big blind and tell it to auto post. I thought that was checked. We have a nut suit and a pair here. We effectively are the button, so we're gonna open this up. It's not a great hand, but we very well may be good here. I mean, it's possible that nobody hit this board. We're gonna fold to a bet, and if he checks, think we have to take a shot at the pot. Yeah, we just gotta fold. With it being a paired board too. If he would have checked, we block at least some of the straights. So yeah, so ranging 3 heads up. Thanks, man, for stopping by. Thanks, Jay Winters, as well. So yeah, on the bankroll challenge, we're at 2,400. And ranging 3 heads up, we are. So the PLO bro thing is all about transitioning. I'm a player that's played mostly live no limit, and what we're all about is trying to document the process of a live no limit player transitioning to a online PLO grinder. So I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes actually, and I'm not sure which hand you were talking about there, but I am certainly gonna make at least 1 or 2 mistakes every time that I play. But the point is to show learning from the spots that we're in. Did not mean to do that. Oh, that was a misclick. Speaking of mistakes. Alright, I'm gonna exit out of this. Yeah, so anyway, I'm certainly gonna make mistakes and find myself in weird spots. It's all part of the learning experience. But there's a lot of like really good experienced players that are streaming, and players, you know, like you could watch Jay Nandez or, you know, some of the other players out there that are, you know, have a lot of name recognition playing, and they're playing a lot of like higher stakes, or, you know, and they're playing from the standpoint of being an experienced player. But I think that there's a lot of no limit players that like the idea of PLO, but they don't understand a lot about it. There's some fear as far as taking on the risk of all of the variants associated with PLO, or at least what they hear about it. And it takes a little bit of a leap to start putting money into a new game. So what I wanted to do is basically just document somebody doing it. So I'm by no means a PLO pro. No Limit would certainly be a game that I'm better at than PLO right now. But we are learning a lot as we go. Yeah, 2.5 starting bankroll, so we're down 2 buy-ins. We were down 9, we've pulled it back to -2. So we haven't gotten a ton of volume in yet, and I feel okay about where we're at. We ran really bad, like the first 2 sessions, we were like -6 buy-ins, and the first really session that I played of the bankroll challenge, the road to 100K. So I'm happy where we're at right now, given where we were. And by the way, man, like, feel free to throw in your opinion of mistakes, what you feel could have been done differently, because I'm happy to learn from what other players see as mistakes. I'm going to 3-bet this since it's double suited and we do have some connectivity. It's not great. But I kind of want to, this guy's short stacking. I kind of want to lower the SPR and have the opportunity to get it in on a bunch of flops. This is pretty terrible for me and just have to fold. Wrong flush draw and the overcard hit. Ranging 3 heads up must have left, but I wish he would have said which hand he was talking about. I'd love to go back and check it out. Yeah, Abel, man, 40K would be pretty strong, man. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely doable. So, I mean, I see, you know, I'm, again, obviously going to be a player that is making some of those mistakes, but I see people doing things. I've already been able to identify some leaks in this population, on this side at least, at this stake, that I feel like I've been able to start successfully exploiting. Post flop, I know that I'm finding myself in some like dicey situations. I've helped kind of shut down as many of those as possible based on just tightening up the pre-flop ranges. But sometimes there are some spots still where I know that, like, in retrospect, I kind of found myself asking, like, why did I choose to take that line? So I tried to avoid clicking buttons, but sometimes when you find yourself in a really weird spot and you don't know what to do, you just opt for one of the options and close your eyes, and then you learn from it. So yeah, I mean, obviously road to 100K is the goal, and if we get to 40, I would be feeling pretty good about the transition. If we get to 40 this year, I mean, that would be pretty huge, actually, to get to 40 by the end of the year. What stakes are you playing, if you don't mind my asking? The thing I've noticed is, like, I was surprised at how many limpers, especially like early position limpers, there are on here at PLO 50. So like what I did while I was starting the course, the PLO University course, was play PLO 5, so 2 cent, 5 cent. And I wasn't, while I was going through the course, and just to try and like grasp some concepts, get a little bit better idea of what was going on, and wasn't surprised at all to see a lot of limpers at PLO 5. Really surprised at how many limpers there are at PLO 50, at least on Ignition. It seems like the population's a bit nittier on America's Card Room. The flip side to America's Card Room is, seems like the software runs faster and is a little less glitchy, and I think you get a lot more hands per hour in on each table. The hands per hour are pretty low on Ignition, like 40 to 45, at least at this stake, where it's like 70 to 80 on ACR, I think, at least the last time I was checking it out. And the rake is capped at a lower amount on ACR. Along with the rake back program, which Ignition doesn't really have any rake back program. So would have flopped pretty strong here with 2 pair and a gutter. I guess that's not super strong, but we would have turned the nuts, and the river would have made it the second nuts. The reason I folded this hand pre is simply because the hand was going multi-way and we were going to be in the worst position at the table. Our gap is at the top, so a lot of our straights aren't the nut straight. Our suit is trashy and we're just going to be dominated by bigger flushes most of the time. And I just think that the implied odds are negative, or we have reverse implied odds in that spot. So just decided to let that go. Flop strong here. Unfortunately, our opponent has 9 big blinds. And we're just gonna bet like, I'm gonna bet kind of small and just see if he'll jam on us. Make it look like it's a small bet that, like, just trying to get him to fold. And we get nothing out of him. Put down a double paired aces, ace, ace, deuce, deuce with nut diamonds. Table's gotten shorthanded. So in all likelihood, one of these players is going to raise and we're going to be able to 3-bet. Table fills up pretty quick though, it's pretty good. I hate these 3x raises because it makes my 3-bets significantly, well, particularly out of the blind, significantly smaller. I might actually go for it. You have the nut flush blocker. Checks back. I'm going to fire down on the turn here. He's going to have a lot of draws that he can call us with. I think we don't get raised that often. And now with the blocker, we're just gonna have to play it, I think, pretty straightforward. And we take it down. Wonders go to, typically I go up to Hara's Cherokee. And sometimes the best bet in Jacksonville. I really love the best bet card room in Jacksonville, and Hara's Cherokee is a nice casino as well. It's a little more difficult to get like comp rooms there because they have, I think the last I heard, they had the most diamond members of any of the Hara's properties. So unless you're putting a lot of money through the pit, you're gonna have a hard time getting like comp rooms on like weekends where, like, you know, the WSOP circuit is there, or there's any like big events or anything like that. Did we freeze up? Ah, there we go. So yeah, man, I had a Bet Online account like a couple years ago that I was grinding just some like no limit sit and goes on, and there just wasn't a lot of volume happening. But is the what's like the game selection like for PLO? Because that was before I was playing any PLO, and I know that Drive HUD, my HUD here, does work on Bet Online. We're gonna open this up. This is a little, it's probably a little wide, but it's actually probably a lot wide, but you only live once, right? Cool, so you're gonna be looking at Able, I guess I'm saying Able, I guess that's how you would say it, AA Bell. Ace's Bell. Yeah, I think PLO 50 is a good starting point because I see a lot of people, like, I know that I'm making mistakes, but I see a lot of people making some like egregious errors, and I think that there's some things that the population, some of the population tendencies are like, there's a lot of under bluffing, I think, on the river, and I think over folding on the river as well. So yeah, I think, like, I don't know, for me, I felt like as well PLO 50 was a good spot where the rake considerations got a little more favorable. PLO 100 would be even better. And that's where I was planning. Originally, I was going to start at PLO 100, but decided to bump it down to 50 and try and get my sea legs under me before committing that much capital to this. Okay, yeah. So it was asked, shouldn't I pot the flop with the ace ace deuce deuce hand that I had on the king 10 8 spade spade, and I think that there's a strong argument to be made for potting that flop, and then. But the reason, I guess my thought process there was that king 10 8 hits, I guess the king probably hits a good bit of my 3-bet range out of the big blind, but the 10 8 hits his range a lot, and if I get raised there, I can't really play the blocker effect that much. But if I check call, I can rep the nut flush on spade turns, and I guess more effectively. So basically what my thought process was there was, instead of potting a flop that I thought that hit his open call range from the button better than it hit my button or my big blind 3-bet range, I thought that delaying my action would get more folds out of weaker hands with equity, and also allow me to play that blocker really strong on spade turns. I think the way that hand ran out was pretty much, we're just going to let this go in the big blind. I think the way that hand ran out was a blank on the turn that brought a club draw as well, and then the spade hit the river. And we bet out like 85% of pot and he folded. We bet the turn and he called, and we bet big on the river and he folded. So yeah, I think that you can pot that flop, but at the same time, by doing so, if we get raised by the button there, the SPR is going to be, if we just call, I think if we just call, if he raises and then we call, then the SPR is going to be too low to really bluff the spade blocker nearly as much, because he's going to have to call like all of his flushes. He's not folding any of his smaller flushes, and he might even have to hero with some other hands. Not to mention I don't know. That wasn't necessarily a bad board to do it on though, because you might be able to get it in against some like pair plus straight draw hands or something like that. There's a lot of drawing hands in his stack off range, instead of on like a super dry flop. I think his stack off range is only going to be hands that we're in like pretty tough shape against when we get it in. So having the draws there does allow us to stack off with him, or to pot and get it in against hands that we have more showdown value on the flop against. But ranging, I disagree that betting the river is pointless, because he would have bet flush draws on the flop, because even though with the nut flush blocker, you know, we're hoping that maybe he'll fold some small flushes, we are also going to make him fold hands that beat one pair. So when the flush hits the river and we bet it strong, I think that he's going to fold a lot of his two pair hands and things like that. Single suited aces with three to the wheel. Gonna open this up into the gun. We do have a nut suit as well. You have to have any like real big pots. I haven't been getting 3-bet at all. This table has been somewhat tight. I mean, we're looking at this guy, 23 VPIP, 21 VPIP. Flop a gut shot to the bottom end of the straight. Not real pumped about that. Turn the flush draw. Straight does get there. But we're gonna bet here. And we're gonna size it up a little bit. Put some money in the pot and pressure this guy with his one pair of hands. I think that's a pretty good card for us. We just beat a lot of his two pair hands. I think he would have raised his straights. So I think we're gonna call a bet here on the river. He pots it, which is not that cool, but we beat 9-8, we beat 9-7. We lose 2 trips and full houses and straights. We do have one blocker to some of the straights. And I feel like with the flush draw out there, he would have raised his straights on the turn. So we're not always going to be good here when we call, but I think that, I don't know, I think that this is a good position to bluff catch. Yeah. I guess a set can make sense there. I think that his check back on the flop though with the set is pretty bad, because there's so many straight cards like the 9 that hit that make it a little more difficult for him to continue. We're gonna defend. Flop middle pair and a bad flush draw. And turn 2 pair with the flush draw. So we're gonna put out a value bet here. We hit our flush. We're gonna check to keep his range wide, let him put some bluffs out there on the spade. He's not gonna bluff it though, we're gonna take it down. I'm just gonna fold this. It's pretty trashy. One thing I'm trying to get a little more comfortable with is playing out of position. I feel like being out of position in PLO is even more difficult to play than in no limit. The in position player can put pressure on the out of position player with such a wide range of hands, and it makes it difficult for the out of position player to really define much of a range when you're playing passively. Oh yeah, I did river the set on the ace ace deuce deuce hand. Yeah, so I think like yeah, I mean it creates like a interesting dynamic. Like you have a lot of showdown, but I think that like by putting out a big bet, you can get some better hands to fold still. So, and then you beat some hands that might hero you. So maybe it's more of a range merge. Like you are trying to get some small flushes to fold, and from that sense, you are bluffing with the nut flush blocker. But you have bottom set. So when you do get called by like, if you do get called by like two pair as a hero call, it's a value bet. So it's a pretty interesting spot. I actually might go back and review that hand a little more later. Flop the K6. Pretty garbagey rainbow hand here. here. Yeah, guys, we're on a 5-minute delay, so if you throw a comment out on the hand, let me know which what the hand was or something. Ace 10 7 4 single suited. We're going to get rid of this in the small blind. Shout out to Jay Winters. Thanks for the follow, man. Didn't I heard the thing go off, but I didn't see your name pop up there when it did. Thanks for the follow if you're still on the stream. Really? It's got time banking on. What's going on? That was weird. Queen Jack 10-3 with a suit, Jack high. We're gonna fold if there's any action before us. We're gonna open it since it's folded around, and we have the button. Pretty good hand for our range. You got the backdoor flush draw to go with it. I think we can rep the aces from the cutoff. Well, the button more than the big blind. So we have a range advantage. We certainly don't have a hand strength advantage with queen high. Turn the royal flush draw. And I think that we should barrel here. Yeah. So like the reason I want to barrel there, I have equity against trip aces, and he's going to raise his full houses, and it's also going to be difficult for him to really continue out of position just check calling with trip aces there even. So like and the king is even worse for him if he doesn't have a boat there and just has trip aces. I have ace king in my range a lot, and if he has trip aces that didn't make a boat with aces full of kings, with me having that in my range, he could be drawn dead a lot of the times. So it makes it difficult for him to continue, and we fold out a lot of hands that are beating us. And if he does call, we can barrel a lot of rivers and get him to fold there too. I'm going to defend here because this guy is going to be opening up a lot of hands. It's pretty bad flop for our hand though. And our range. It hits the button's range, I think, a lot better than our range. He checks back though, I doubt he has aces. We have the second nut blocker as well. So I think this is a spot where we can try to steal. So I'm gonna bet this up. Yeah, we can take a fold. This would have been an interesting pot to be in with the pair and the pair gut shot and blocking the current nut straight. The paired board makes it a little trickier because it's not blocking the nuts, but still interesting spot. Interesting to see what player one had there. Ace, king, king, four, one suit. Happy to open this up, and yeah, we're gonna 3-bet this. We don't want to get 4-bet, and player six could certainly have aces in his opening, a lot of his opening range from under the gun. Actually just folds. A fold here would be phenomenal. You just pick up so many big blinds per 100 in this position when everybody folds to the 3-bet. So you have a gut shot, an overpair, and a backdoor or a flush blocker. We have just over 2 SPR. So I think this is the spot where we're just gonna get it in. We block a lot of his draws, or a lot of the hands that he could. If he gets it in with a draw, we're blocking him from getting there. Jack 9, diamonds. You take it down. And I think we can pretty much eliminate aces from his range when he flats the open from player 6 and then flats the 3-bet from me. He probably had some type of rundown hand. It's a one-time experience, yeah. I actually have hit only one Royal online. I've hit one live. Yeah, I hit the steel wheel last night, got 1 bet out of the guy. He folded to the river. It was unfortunate. I hit it with the ace. I think I had ace 5 of diamonds. So I think that he called. We hit it on the turn, and he called our turn bet, and then folded on the river. So I think he had a flush, but we knew he couldn't have the nut flush because it was in our hand. We got a 3 wrap with a nut draw, so we're gonna call this guy for sure. And we hit the inside wrap. Miss, and the flush gets there, which sucks. It's kind of a bad spot to be. We do have 1 diamond blocker. I feel like that actually was a good board to raise his bet on. I don't know what this bet is supposed to represent. Is it looks like a blocker bet, but we're just gonna fold with the paired board. I think if the board's not paired there, I'm probably gonna raise him when he does that. But he might have just like a bear 6 trying to see a cheap river, and he's gonna call a lot of my raises, I think, anyway. And try to boat up on the turn. I really don't want to commit myself. Well, I'm glad you've been hitting some backdoor quad draws, because I got backdoor quad drawed this week. We were all in, and he backdoor quad drawed me. I had him overflush, and he hit runner quads. It was pretty sick. We're gonna open this up, or 3-bet this. I mean, this min raise crap is garbage. I don't know why a lot of people are doing this at this stake. I don't really feel like it's not gonna get anybody to fold that was gonna play regardless. So, yeah. So flop a gut shot and a bunch of undercards, but this flop is super good for our 3-bet range. So we're gonna size up and put in a c-bet here. We don't have like a lot of great, really only queens are good for us on the turn. And maybe some hearts, but our heart draw's not nutted either, so like, other than the queen. If he raises us, we just gotta lay it down. Yeah, but it's an easy spot to c-bet because it's so easy to make the right decision when we do get raised. Like if he folds, he almost certainly folded a hand with more showdown value than ours. If he raises, then we can fold super easily and kind of get out of the hand quickly. And then if he check calls, the check call is probably where it gets tricky, because depending on what the turn card is, the decision becomes, do you barrel? And on that flop, he's gonna have a lot of ace X and king X hands, so he's gonna fold most of his king X that doesn't make 2 pair on the turn. He's gonna fold some of his aces. And yeah, I think that we probably are gonna barrel on that turn, on a lot of turn cards at least. We probably don't barrel if the king pairs. We might not barrel if we... yeah, I don't know. I don't think I like barreling on a paired king on the turn. And maybe not even if the ace pairs, because... I don't know. Definitely not the king. Might still barrel on the ace, I don't know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give me 1 minute. I'm gonna grab something to drink. I'll be right back. Did everybody leave? All right, let's see if we can get another table rolling, because this one has died. So the weather here has been amazing lately. So I got some Corona, great summer beer. Forgot limes. What a fail. Yeah, I agree. I think like he bet like 187 into like $6 or $7, or maybe it wasn't that much. It was like $5 or $6 pot, and it was a flush card that hit the turn. And I think that especially having a diamond in my hand, I had the 8 of diamonds in my hand there. So without a diamond, I feel better about the fold. Yeah, I think with the 8 of diamonds, like I can probably profitably bluff that spot. But yeah, it's the same with the paired board. I thought that the paired board made that a little bit of a weird spot with the paired. I think it was 6-6, 6-6, 10, and I had the 7, 8, 9. I think on the flop, it might be a better place. The flop might be a better spot to bluff. I don't know. The flush getting there on the turn, in hindsight, is a good card to bluff as well. But I thought that with the paired board, he might call, like with trips and then I'm in a really weird spot on the river, regardless of whether he boats up or not. Ace Jack Deuce Deuce. We're gonna defend. We've got a nut draw. We flop a blocker to the nuts. And a gut shot to the nuts. I'm going to check here. Player 5 c-bets and 1 folds. I think I'm going to check raise bluff here with the jack blocker. This would be a better play with jack-jack. Yeah, with player 1 calling though, I'm going to let this go because it's just going to get through less often. And player 1 might be slow playing because there's no flush draw on the board, so he might feel pretty safe with a straight. Oh, he had the jack-jack. And a pair of jacks is good. Sick. He had a really good hand to check raise on the flop, I think. Yeah, Abel, he could have had like, who knows, he might have had pocket tens. Just like flop the stone cold nuts on us and try to lure us in with small bets. Who knows? I think that I have a clearly a good place to bluff if that board's not paired, and maybe it's a little more gray with it being a paired board. But I think that the argument for raising his super small bet on the turn is pretty valid, and a lot of the times you're going to get folds there, and I would have liked to maybe bluff that spot. It would have just, I think it would have been a better spot without the board being paired. But again, like, I think that's maybe a situation where you can create an edge for yourself is learning when to push some bluff spots that are good bluff spots but not necessarily the best. Like, I know in one of the play-in explains, I don't know what to do with this hand. It sucks. I'm just gonna fold this hand. Actually, I just don't feel good about it. On one of the play-in explains, Fernando, and I think Ryan Fee was on it with him. He's talking about not necessarily, like, you have to bluff in more spots than just when you have the perfect blockers or the perfect spots. You can't just limit your bluffs to only nut flush blockers and, like, pocket pairs that double block the straight, or things like that, because you're going to struggle to find enough good bluff spots. So maybe that was that hand, the 10-6-6 flop when I had the ace 9-8-7. Maybe that was a hand to expand with the paired board not making it the greatest bluff spot. I still think that on the turn, when we had a diamond blocker, it was still a good bluff spot that I probably should have tried to exploit. And then if he comes back over the top, then it's an easy fold, and we lose a lot of chips on a big blinds per 100 basis. But I think that in the long run, a bluff there probably would have been a plus EV play. Jack 10-10-5, single suited in the big blind. We're going to defend a button open here. And he limps. And so does we're just going to complete here. I think this is a pulling hand where we're happy to go to this hand multi-way because we're looking to basically flop a set. Our straights will make nut straights most of the time. Or all the time. So we're just gonna see if we can see a flop and try to cooler somebody. Flop top pair. No, we flop top set. Yeah. A little bit better. So since it was limped, I'm just gonna lead. Unfortunately, we get no action. Like, that's the spot we're happy to get it in against like a pair and like an open ender or something. That would have been great. Even like a pair and a wrap would have been great, a great spot to get it in. Even though the wrap's gonna have a lot of equity against us, like we're happy with top set to just get all the money in with no flush draw on the board, especially. It was a spot too that like they have, with me having top set, the board is 10-9-4. It's pretty, no flush draw. It's pretty hard for them to have a lot of hands that they can put a lot of money in. Unless we get lucky and oversetted somebody, or they have like a super random, like the small blind decides to complete with a random hand and hits like 9-4. I think that our primary customers there are going to be open-enders or hands like a 9 with an open-end straight draw and maybe some wraps. But I think we have to just go ahead and lead out for pot there to try and build a pot. Otherwise, the pot's just going to be super small. If we don't start building the pot right on the flop, we're never going to be able to get like our whole stack in by the river. Oh no. The disconnect. Say it ain't so. We're going to get position on this big stack here. Our HUD is all out of position here. Hero, player 1. So alright, we'll defend. It's pretty garbagey, but bottom pair. Backdoor 9 high flush draw. Pretty strong. We have one blocker to the nut straight. We're just going to try and take this down because we're probably not going to win a showdown if we don't bet. So he can be calling with straight draws and flush draws, and most of the straight draws miss. 7-8 gets there. But we're going to rep the nuts. Yeah. Like, I've just been finding that, like, what my experience so far has been is that even if you don't feel comfortable doing it and risking your stack, just barreling the river like gets it done. There's so many people that are calling down your bets with draws or like weak like one pair hands that assume that, you know, they can try to catch up. That, like, just putting in that last big bet on the river, it just gets folds. What is, so, player 1, so that's this guy. Player 5 is over here. Yeah, so we gotta, we're gonna 3-bet this spot. I'm getting my blinds raised a lot. This guy has opened like half of his hands. The ace, it's a 3-bet range. So we're gonna c-bet here. We have a backdoor draw. Now we have the nut flush draw. This is a weird spot because if I check any jams, I have to fold. So I feel like I just have to follow through here. And we get the fold. I kind of pot commit myself against his stack there when I do bet. So if he jams on me, I do have the equity, I think, to call the jam. Yeah. Flop the effect of nuts here, but I don't think we want to be making a habit of playing 8-6 4 deuce rainbow, even from the button. Eight 6-3 single suit is not much better. Down to 3-handed on this table as well, so we're going to defend this small raise and flop top set. I don't think that we can let the straight out there deter us from trying to put some money in the pot with top set there, because his range is going to be super wide playing 3-handed. And we have a ton of equity. And we also want to make him make mistakes by calling with like pair and gut shot hands, things like that. That flop most likely just whiffed his hand completely, but if he had like a 6-7-9 hand or something like that, like a pair of sixes with the nut open ender. Or no, 7-9 made the straight actually. Like a 9-6, say like a 9-6-4, something like that, where he's got a gut shot and a pair. We want him to call in those spots, trying to hit like his gut shot or 2-pair or trips, and he's drawing super slim. All right, we're gonna play one more orbit here and probably wrap it up. We actually went a little longer than normal. We're at 2 hours. Nut suit, we're gonna defend again. We pretty much totally whiff this flop. So we're just gonna fold if he c-bets here. Probably check back and try to pick up some equity on the turn if he checks. Did it freeze this out? He's probably disconnected, but I'm not going to just bet into him. And is he away? We did pick up some equity here. Yeah. He disconnected. I'm just going to give this hand up, actually. It's pretty crappy, and I just don't want to play it. Ace, Queen, 10, 6. We got 3 Broadways, 6 Dangler. We're Rainbow. I'm going to fold. Like, there's just not very many flops. Like, we don't... Being Rainbow, we just, like, don't flop equity nearly as often as having a suit. Or double suited particularly. If the 6 was like an 8 or a 9, or just say an 8 or higher, like a card that can connect up to the 10 and the queen, then maybe I'll open that from the button. But I think that's a fold for that particular hand. Like, I think in PLO, we're trying to play a lot of hands that, particularly in, like, I don't know, we want to play hands that have the ability to continue on a lot of flops. So the inability to flop any type of flush draw really makes Rainbow hands less valuable. And it also means that, you know, most boards are going to have a flush draw on them or a flush get there. And with a Rainbow hand, that draw is never going to be for you. You're not going to be the one drawing to it. So you can play the ace blocker in that spot, but I don't know. I think that was a fold from the button even. At any rate, I think that's going to wrap it up for us, guys. Thanks for stopping by and watching some of this. Give me a follow. Check me out on YouTube at PLO Bro Official. In addition to the streams, the past streams, we have some hand analysis breakdowns. We're using Poker Juice and Odds Oracle to look at different hands in different spots and look at some of our probabilities and try to break down opponents' ranges. And check me out on Facebook at PLO Bro Official, as well as the same on Instagram and on Twitter at PLO Bro. Trying to keep a reasonably consistent stream of content going out to all my social media on here and on YouTube as well. So follow me on those sites. Let me know what type of content you'd like to see. Like, share, etc., etc. We'll be back tomorrow night, perhaps. Tomorrow's my birthday, so we might end up going out instead of streaming. But the normal stream schedule is Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Started a little early tonight. But if I throw any unscheduled streams out, it'll be put up on all my social media, so just follow me there. Keep up to date with what's going on. Thanks again for stopping by. Abel, thanks for sticking around, man. Jesus GTO, if you're on still, appreciate the support. And all my followers, awesome. Thanks. Enjoy the evening. Be safe. And run good.